Alright, so when we start off the course here, you go into your opening activities, and inside your opening activities, you have this create a Hawks Learning account and enrolling in the course. And inside here is what I've done is I've kind of organized like things that Hawks has given you to be able to help you get enrolled. And so I've got a PDF that kind of talks to you about like, here's where you go to set up your account. I'll just pop that up so you can see it. It basically tells you the name of the course and tells you like what website to go to and what screenshots you're going to see and all that kind of fancy stuff. And but I've also put it down as a step-by-step right here. Same thing, same directions. They have a video that walks you through it. And then once you're in, you've created your account and done the whole process, then you also have a video right here that explains like the layout of Hawks. Now, I'm going to take 1 second here, and when I go to Hawks, I'll do that in just a moment. So please do this part first. Go through, make sure you got your account set up. And once you have your account set up, let's go back to our modules. We're going to go to module 1, and that's what this video is really about. This video is more so about like how do we navigate and work inside of Hawks, and what's the design of this course. So in module 1, it's over chapter 1 and chapter 2. I'll get the chapter 2 posted tomorrow evening sometime. So we go into section 1.1 to get started. Inside here we can see that this is due on Sunday. It came available on the 21st, and it'll close out permanently on July 27th. And basically what that means is if you don't get it done by Sunday, you can get it done, but you'll have a 10% penalty. I've got the objectives posted for you, and then what I've done is I've gone and I've actually provided you with two options. This option right here gives you the PowerPoint itself, like so all the slides that Hawks Learning has created. And I'll show you how those correlate in just a moment. What I also did, and what I think is probably the best method is, this document right here is, if you know Microsoft PowerPoint, you could definitely print this PowerPoint yourself. But my concern was that maybe people didn't have PowerPoint. But with this, it's a PDF, so you could go ahead and print this off. And my intentions is that this way you have the notes right here. You can annotate all around. You can jot down more notes over here on the notes side, and this becomes your resource. This is the place where you keep section 1.1 organized, and I'll keep referencing that as we move through. Okay, so I'm going to come up here. I'm going to minimize this guy, and I'm going to walk you through. So this is what your assignment will look like. Is you'll come in, it'll tell you, okay, print off the handout, go to Hawks Learning. I'm going to get sidetracked here for 1 second. So when you create an account this week, if you haven't purchased your access code, you have three choices. You can purchase your access code from Thomas University and type it in right there, go this route. You can purchase it from Hawks Learning, which is $75 versus $82.75 or something like that for this one. So $75, purchase the access code with your credit card right there. Or if you don't have access to that money this week, you have this request for temporary access code. And so with this, you type in, your user, your first name, you choose your school, type in, use your Thomas University email, blah, 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 go through the whole process. And basically what happens is that gives you a 14-day free access code that expires after 14 days, and it's only meant to give you some time to get started while you get your finances in order. If you do not purchase the access code for this course, you will not be able to pass the class. So let me go ahead and log in as a student, and this is what you'll see when you go into Hawks, and I'll kind of help you see how my intentions of how you'll use this handout that I'm providing you. Alright, so you come on in here and I tell you to go ahead and pull it up. Oops, sorry, wrong thing. But I tell you to go ahead and click on 1.1 Getting Started, which is the first section. It's the name of the section for this particular thing. So I click Go to Hawks. I click on 1.1, and at this point I tell you to click on Start, or start on the Learn. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use the section 1.1 Getting Started 3-slide handouts to walk through and take additional notes as needed from the videos and learn. Alright, so what do I mean by that? So I'm going to use this guy right here, and I'm going to go through here, and I'm going to, I get to these different slides, I'm going to take some notes along the way inside of what I'm going to see inside of Learn. So let me go ahead and go back there, Go back to Hawks. I click on Start for the Learn. And what this is that this is actually where it's intended. This is what Hawks has created to house basically like the PowerPoint. And so what you're going to see up here is, I'm not 100% sure why the objectives aren't showing up there, but no big deal, they're in your PowerPoint. But I've typed some notes down here at the bottom. This is my information, and up here at the top is what Hawks has given to you. Alright, so you have the ability on the left hand side to look at the actual slides that are available to you. You can see the slides that I've added certain notes to, and you can go to that slide and see those notes. You can go back to the pages and you go to that slide and see that I've got some information added in there. You've got some videos all organized in one spot. So if you want to watch that video right there, a lot of times what I do is on these slides right here, I give you some directions and tell you what to do as far as like watching a video over here or whatever. So make sure you read both the top and the bottom and follow those directions. So we move on through and we get to our next slide and getting started. And so with this getting started slide, this is kind of like what's going along with your PowerPoint right here. So you can see you've got your get it started slide and you've got your notes. Well, instead of you having to copy these down, what you can do is just kind of jot down what you need out of it. So I come back to this guy right here, and so there's really nothing special about this one. You're just reading through there, processing the information. Come to the next one, and you've got the information from Hawks Learning at the top, which corresponds with the information in the slides, the handout. And then what I've done is to kind of, instead of you just like, reading something, what I've done is, and not all of these are my videos, some of them are other people's videos I found and stole, but then like this video down here runs you through what you're reading about up here at the top, kind of walks you through the definitions, kind of helps guide you. So you might want to take some notes back on your handout and kind of jot some stuff down over here, some additional annotations onto these notes to help you remember for later. Then once you're done with that slide, you move to the next slide. You read what's at the top, correspond it with the PowerPoint slides that I've provided for you here in the handout. Watch the video that kind of goes over the topic you're discussing in this particular slide. When you're ready, move on to the next slide. Same thing, you've got an example, walks you through. That example should correlate directly with what you see here inside of the PowerPoint, so you can jot down notes to help you through. Watch the video at the top. Make sure anything at the bottom, you watch through that, which is the same video as the previous slide, and so forth and so on. You keep going through this process, each slide, and until you get to the end. Once you get to the end, it brings you back. So I'm going to pull up this this guy right here. So once you're done with the learn, you can go through and you can go ahead and jump from the learn into the practice. Now remember, neither the learn nor the practice are actually for a grade. So when we go into the practice, this is low stakes. This is like a homework assignment without something that's going to be taken for points. You practice here to make sure you're up to speed. Waiting for it to load. One thing about the practice is that the practice questions are always in the same order. So in a minute when this pops up, what we're going to see is that this guy has 9 questions. And these 9 questions will always be in the same order. So as I go through here, if I skip, you'll see question 2, question 3, question 4, so forth and so on. And so like for example, question 6 will be the same type of question but with different numbers, different wording the next time I come back around. So when I come back around, I skip through 9, it takes me to the end. It says, do you want to continue practice? I say yes. Takes me back in, and if I cycle back through, question number 6 would be identical or very similar, to the question number 6 you saw the first time. Now that's only on the practice, and I'll touch base on that when I get to certify. So on the practice, I'm here, and I've got my notes. I've got this thing right here that I've jotted down my annotations and stuff, and I got this stuff in front of me, and I'm going through and I'm trying to answer this question, and so I answer it. I didn't even read it. I'm just going to submit. Tells me I got it wrong. Okay, so I got a couple options. Obviously, if I click on try again, I know it's got to be population because this is one or the other, but I can explain the error. And and they'll go through and they'll talk to me about it and they'll remind me of the definition and whatever I need. If that's not good enough, I can always click on step by step, which in this particular case doesn't tell you a whole lot, but what it does is it helps you break down. It helps you break down what this question is talking about, and you work your way through that step by step. And once you're done, you can go back to practice. Another option is you can click on Learn, which will take you back into the Learn that we started with, or you can just go right to the answer. And you can make little notes about, hey, this one's this answer because of this, but so those are kind of your tools that you have. You have Explain the Error, Step by Step, Learn, which takes you back into the Learn section, and then you just have straight up just the solution. Once you've done what you want to do, you go back to practice, and you can try a similar one. So notice you're still on number 1, but now we're on a different type of question, so I'm going to answer it. I didn't even read it. I click Submit. I got it wrong again. So I can, like I said, I can send a question to me, to the instructor. I can explain the error. Once again, I see those tools are going to pop up here in just a minute. But this is the process that I do, and so every time I'm doing one of these questions and I get something wrong, or if I'm doing this step by step and I'm kind of guiding myself through this process and I'm becoming a critical thinker about what they're asking me here, I'm taking that information and I'm annotating on this section 1.1. This is my tool. These are my resources right here that I'll use when I'm completing one of the tests or when I'm doing the Certify section. Speaking of Certify, so once I've completed the practice and once I've got myself back to the spot where I'm comfortable, and I'm just backing out, you play around with that whole process. I'll go on to Certify as soon as my screen loads. There we go. So in this particular case right here, I've blocked myself. Oh, there I have it. I click on Start. So inside the Certified, this is where your grade comes from. This is where your grade for section 1.1 comes from. Notice you don't have the tutor option. If you get it wrong, it's wrong. You don't get to go back. All right? But what you do have is, and let's go ahead and get a couple of these. Let's see if I can get a couple wrong. So submit. Okay, so first of all, I got this one wrong. So it gives me some options. It says you have 1 attempt remaining for this question. Would you like to try a similar one, or accept a strike and move to the next question? So you only get so many strikes. I've got your level at, I'm going to say try a similar. I've got your level of mastery set around 80% for most of these assignments. So there's only 9 questions. You only get to miss 1, and then the next one will be outside of 80%. So what will happen is when you don't meet that mastery, it's going to kick you back into the practice. It's going to make you go through the practice and learn the material, and then it will allow you in. So let's go and get this one wrong again. Oh, I got it right that time by accident. All right, we're just going to guess. Submit the answer. Okay, I'm going to accept the strike. Okay, so what that means is that I got 1 strike taken away. I can display the solution, whatever. No big deal. I'm going to move on. Okay, I'm just guessing here. I got it wrong. I'm going to accept the strike. Now notice that what happened was I used to have 2 hearts. Now I'm down to 1 heart. I display the answer. I click next. Now I have no more strikes against me. So if I get this wrong, I got it right. Go figure. Just guessing. Got it right. How lucky am I? Okay, I got it wrong. I can try another one, or I can accept my strike. If I accept my strike, display my answer, click on next. At this point, it's loading. There we go. At this point, it says that I need to go back to practice. So I can practice my mixed questions, or I go back into practice to unlock my Certify. So when I'm unlocking my Certify, I've got to put in the correct amount, a fixed amount of time, or amount of time in the practice, to be able to show Hawks that I'm actually ready to go back into Certify, that I'm not just guessing, that I actually know the content. So I go back into practice, And I would do the same process. I would go in here and I would start, looking through the questions and practicing the ones, So obviously at this point, there's some of these questions out of the 9 questions that I'm good at. I understand. I've got my notes written down here, so I got references here. I'm learning and jotting down learning from my mistakes and jotting down information on my little handouts. And some of these questions are going to be no problem. I'll just click on it, bam, because I just remember not the answer, but I remember that type of question. I'm like, that's definitely a sample. I keep on going, and I'm like, okay, that one's a population. After I read it, and I'm keep on going, and eventually I'm going to get to ones that are a little bit harder, and that's the ones that are going to hold me up. So I might want to go into my tutor, and I can go through the step by step, and I can kind of like jot down little notes to myself to remind myself, hey, in this situation, what type of situation do I have? I click on one thing, I say submit, it says good job, so I make a little note to myself. I move on to the next part. So if it was a partial group or a whole group, just what does that make it? So I click population. Oops, you have entered incorrect, so I can try it again and be like, okay, that's right, that was a sample statistic. I can change my, that's weird, so there it goes, submit, and so now it's like, okay, you completed this question, and allows you to move on. So hopefully you've made notes, you jotted down things, and just kind of working through the process. Once I've gone through sufficiently, it will allow me to go into certify. But practice is where you learn the content. Practice is where you practice. So when you go into the certify, it's like taking a quiz. It's a quick little activity. You're just going through there. You're using your notes you jotted down here on your handout to move you through the certify. Alright, so to kind of summarize here, I'm going to come back in. As you go through, you can see, so once you've completed the learn, you go into the practice. You got your options with the tutor to go step by step, and I explain the other ways you could look at it. Use the practice to begin to form mastery of your concept by practicing more than one attempt of each question. Once you feel confident in the practice, you go into certify to complete the assignment. Treat the certify like a quiz. Alright, so that's kind of the process of this whole class. So once you finish section 1.1, you go on to section 1.2, and then section 1.2, it's going to be a similar layout. I'm going to keep this class real clean, just to kind of guide you through. I may make some tweaks as we move through the semester, but the main idea here is you're going to see similar process. So you'll have your handouts to print out, you have your link to Hawks Learning right now to get you in. It'll remind you to go into learn, go into practice, go into certify. And you just keep through that process as you go through the semester. That's Hawks Learning. I will be working on getting what's it called, a single sign-on, so you'll actually sign on to Hawks Learning through your Canvas account. I'm working on getting those connections made and getting everything set up, but for now, just access the Hawks Learning through these links right here, and everything should be good. Please don't hesitate to send me questions, and good luck as you get started.